Now, talk about enduring political relevance. Few leaders have walked as many corridors of Nigeria's democracy as our guest today, Senator Aminu Tambuwal, a lawyer and politician whose journey spans the heart of the legislature and the seat of executive power. From presiding over the House of Representatives as Speaker to leading Sokoto State as Governor and now serving in the Nigerian Senate. You could say that Senator Tambuwal has taken various seats at the top table where Nigeria's fate is decided. So, having been part of the system and having seen it all, how does he now assess this country as it grapples with crippling hardship, raging insecurity, and what his fellow opposition politicians see as a leadership crisis? He's now, of course, a key figure in the ADC opposition coalition, or, as he put it, a transitioning figure in the party that's aiming to challenge the APC in 2027. And this weekend, at a colloquium marking his 60th birthday in Abuja, he delivered an urgent message warning that at a time of mounting economic pressure, divisive political realignments, and growing public demand for accountability, Nigeria is in peril and needs collective efforts to save it.
Today is unfortunate. This is not where we expected to be. Those who laid the foundation for this democracy, some alive, many of them are not living, even in their graves, are not happy with the current situation of Nigeria. Those living who believe in Nigeria, who are genuine about Nigeria, who are not selfish, cannot be happy with the current situation in Nigeria. The only way out of it is for all of us to agree that there is something fundamentally wrong.
Senator Tambuwal. So tonight, as he marks his 60th birthday this month, Senator Aminu Tambuwal joins me now in the studio. Thank you very much indeed for coming in.
Thank you, Charles, for having me.
And congratulations on your 60th birthday. I mean, you've achieved so much in such a fairly short life. Speaker of the House of Representatives, Governor of Sokoto State, and now Senator. What has kept you grounded through the ups and downs of Nigerian politics?
Well, first and foremost, Charles, it is all the grace of God. But I also believe that growing up, I have this conviction in me that endeavors in politics and governance are about the people. It's all about service. It's not about self. And in that determination, I followed through. It has not been rosy. It has not been easy. Right from 2003, when I started seeking for tickets to run for the House of Representatives seat of Aminu Tambuwal Federal Constituency. I was in the PDP. I was the state legal advisor of the party. But through some machinations, I was reported to have failed the primaries. So my team and our team now negotiated and exited the PDP and joined the ANPP. And it was on the platform of ANPP that I came to the House of Representatives for the first time. So that was the foundation. And in the House of Representatives, Speaker Aminu Bello Masari from day one identified me and saddled me with the responsibility of being Deputy Chair, House Committee on Rules and Business. This is a committee that is at the heart of running the affairs of the Parliament. And of course, as is the tradition, it is only someone that is trusted by the leadership that is given either chairmanship of that committee or deputy chairman. And then we started on that note. Of course, in the course of events, there was some discomfort in the ANPP caucus and minority caucus. Things happened, and my colleagues went against zoning and elected me as minority leader of the House of Representatives in 2005. So it's a continuous back and forth. And then, of course, 2007, we had our issues with the then governor of Sokoto State, Abubakar. Again, he and his team denied me the ticket of their new political party, the DPP. We realigned with Wamako, who was still in ANPP. And then the political situation in the state generated into something that President Obasanjo and his party looked at and took interest and invited Wamoko and our team to join the PDP. So in 2007, as it were, I was on the platform of PDP, ran for a second term, and I won the elections. I came back to the House of Representatives, where my colleagues now tasked me with the responsibility of becoming the Deputy Chief Whip of the House. During the turbulence of whether it should go or remain, virtually all...
That's the woman who was the speaker of the House at the time.
Madam Speaker.
Yeah.
Virtually all the principal officers were asked to go. But I remained, and then we continued, and I served the full term as Deputy Chief Whip of the House of Representatives. In 2011, I again ran on the platform of PDP, came back to the House, and then my colleagues again went against zoning.
Yes, I was going to say your political life has been characterized by a kind of rebellion, hasn't it?
Well, maybe for want of a better word.
Indeed.
Yeah. Not necessarily rebellion.
Yeah, but rebellion against a particular issue, which is the issue of
rebellion with a cause.
Rebel with a cause.
Yes,
right.
More of that.
And I mean, that's a fascinating synopsis. But just very briefly, so people get a better sense of who you are, where you've come from. Take us back to the beginning. Your political journey began in 2003, and that shaped the politician that you are today. Is that right?
No. I have been involved in politics right from 1996 transition, when political parties were being formed. We were under the leadership of late Umar Shinkafi in ANC, and the party was not registered, and then we had to go and join the DPP, if I may borrow the words of one of the five leprous fingers, if I may borrow the words of Bola Ige, of blessed memory, the DPN, I joined the DPN. You know, we had DPN, UNCP, and the rest of them. So I joined DPN, and I was the state legal advisor of the DPN. So it wasn't 2003.
Right.
But
2003 was when you started coming to prominence.
I started running for office.
Right.
Yes, elective office.
So having had that fairly long, as I look at you, as I said, a lot of people would consider you to be still quite young. You've just turned 60. But having been through all that, how do you feel about the Nigerian political terrain today? Because you've invested so much of your life and your energy into that political system.
Well, Charles, as I did say during the colloquium, this is not where many of us expected Nigeria to be, especially many of us who are on the field of play in politics. And even the electorates and many of the leaders of this country do not expect Nigeria of today to be where it is. And I can say this is largely due to the faulty processes that we have. And you know, in Nigeria, we always try to find a way to cut corners and change the system, and then get ourselves where we want to be.
Well, let me pick you up on that.
Without following the due process.
Let me pick you up on that, because looking honestly at Nigeria today, I mean, you've been part of all arms of government, either directly or indirectly. Which level of leadership do you think has failed the people the most? Is it the executive arm of government? I mean, you were a governor. Or is it the legislature? You were Speaker of the House and now Senator, or the judiciary? And I mention that because you are a lawyer. Which level of leadership do you think has failed the people the most? Or is it all three?
Well, Charles, let me be very honest with you. I believe that as at today, it's all the three. As at today. At certain times in the past, you may find the executive arm wobbling and the legislature coming in through checks and balances, through the constitutional framework, and strengthen things and reposition the government. You find the judiciary also having some challenges, and then somehow interventions come in, and then, but today, as of today, it's all the levels.
And looking back, what policy decisions during your time as a politician, I mean, you still are, but either previously or currently, what policy decisions do you now believe Nigerians paid the highest price for?
As of today?
Some would say allowing military rule. Some would say, you know, the elections that go sort of haywire in this country.
Military rule was not allowed. They usually force themselves on the country. It wasn't as if there was any choice left for the people. Most of the times they come in and then it's not about them being allowed. But when you talk about democracy, part of the policy decisions that have negatively impacted, I believe, is the electoral process.
Right.
And closely related to the issues of governance and what we find today, in the way and manner the current administration whimsically removed fuel subsidy without any alternative, without any framework, without thinking it through, without consultation with other stakeholders and Nigerians on how best to go about it. Because as at the time it was done, it was clear Mr. President was only interested in removing it without having any plan on his sleeves.
Right.
So that's another policy decision.
Well, let me take the opportunity of you mentioning elections to look forward to 2027, which is the next general election. I'm sure you know that Nigerians are losing faith in elections. That's probably one of the reasons why you brought that up. From what you've seen inside the system, are elections still truly decided by voters in this country or by political power?
No. It's not completely decided by the electorates. I can say that, and without mincing words. We know quite oftentimes that at coalition level, be it at the polling unit, at the ward level, at local government level, at the state level, or even at the national level, things happen that misrepresent what voters actually voted for.
But then you've benefited from elections, and also you've challenged outcomes of elections.
Yes.
Where exactly is the system breaking down? Is it INEC, is it the courts, or the politicians themselves?
Both. It's a combination of both.
Right.
Politicians, yes. As I said in my earlier remarks, they try to find corners to cut. So wherever there is a loophole, politicians take advantage of that loophole. And INEC, from day one, in terms of the day of the election, be it failure of either beavers or failure of whatever technology, and then inability to transmit, even to start the election on time, and then transmit the results count the results and transmit them. In between, you find INEC officials being compromised.
So would you support full electronic transmission of results nationwide, even if it costs you or your party victories?
I wholeheartedly support any reform that will improve the electoral process of Nigeria, including electronic transmission. Even if I, assuming I'm going to contest an election in 2027, will lose to that process,
Right.
I don't mind.
But you yourself have changed. I mean, you mentioned that at the outset. You've changed political platforms in the past. Many Nigerians see defections as political opportunism. What makes your own decisions different?
Basically, as I said, in 2003, I believe the process was not fair to me. I left and joined the ANPP.
But when you say it wasn't fair to you, you mean you lost?
I lost. It was manipulated,
Right.
and I
No,
lost.
but that's what all the other politicians who switch parties
I am
say.
speaking for myself, and
Right.
that's the truth.
Right.
I lost that unfair process. I tested my popularity, and I won in 2003. In 2007, our political leader, then Bafra Sokoto said, Bafra said, I was not popular enough to run. I said, okay. I ported with one Mokus camp. We tested our popularity, and we won. And then in 2007, I had no issues with the ticket. I remained in PDP. In 2011, I had no issues with the ticket. I remained in PDP. In 2015, I was part of the process of the G5 governors who splitted from PDP
To APC.
to APC, to form the APC. So it was about my conviction, particularly on issues around and about good governance.
Right. In that regard, is party ideology still relevant in Nigeria? Has it ever had any relevance, or are parties now just vehicles for winning power?
For me, I have my doubt on parties being ideologically driven. It's not. I don't believe so. Thus far, most of the parties have been used just as vehicles or conveyor belts.
So in that regard,
to a
you've
particular destination.
used them as well as a vehicle.
I admit that
Right.
that was the issue. It's not about ideology. Okay, if it's about ideology, what was President Muhammadu Buhari doing in APC with some characters that we have in APC? If it was about ideology, what I don't want to mention names, but if you look at President Muhammadu Buhari then, the way he was being perceived, the way he was being viewed, what was he doing with some characters in politics? As of today, in APC and in PDP, in ADC, we still have, what I may describe as political courts of many colors. I mean, people who ordinarily about ideology should not be straight bedfellows.
Well, talking about characters, I mean, you once ran for president under the banner of the PDP.
Yes.
And it was reported that your main backer for the ticket was Nyesom Wike. Is that a fact?
Yeah, he was backing me very well.
So he's your chum. He's your political buddy, if you
Well,
will.
he was my partner
At the time.
at that time.
Right. So does that give you a sense of how allegedly meddlesome he can be, given what is going on in Rivers State today, and how difficult things might be for Governor Fubara? Because if you had been successful in your attempt to win the presidential ticket, you actually did very well. You came second to Atiku Abubakar.
Yeah.
But if you had been successful, might he have made the same kind of overbearing demands he's reported to be making of Governor Fubara
Well, let me say this.
in order to sustain his support?
Let me say this
of you?
possibly for the first time to the public. When I ran the primaries of 2019, I and Governor Nyesom Wike had not had any pact of he being my running mate. Because it has been
Yes, it's been said that he wanted to be your vice presidential
not at all.
candidate.
He never requested that. I must be fair to him. And he never gave me that condition. Or this is what he must take in government, or this is what he must have. So if maybe he's had that with Fubara.
So what was his condition for supporting? I mean, there must have been a reason for supporting.
The reason is that he identified me as someone young and then someone who can do the job. I believe it was about my capacity.
Right.
Not about any opportunism of him coming to manipulate the government if and when we want.
So you're saying publicly and unequivocally that there were no demands from him?
No.
Right, okay. Well, let's leave it at that. Let's turn to the party that you are transitioning into. I like that term. You're the one who came up with it.
Yes.
Which is the ADC coalition.
Yes.
Ayo Fayose, the former governor of Ekiti State, has said emphatically that in his assessment, if the ADC does not field Peter Obi as its presidential candidate in 2027, then the party will be stuck with what he called spent forces and wouldn't stand a chance. What's your reaction to that? I mean, you've got a leg and a half in the ADC at the moment.
Well, Charles, you are right by saying that I have been part of the coalition, and there is a possibility of transitioning to ADC. I'm consulting our stakeholders in Sokoto and other stakeholders across the country for us to conclude on that. However, I have said on a program aired by Arise that I don't join issues with Ayo Fayose. Before. I said so before. I still stand on what I've said.
Well, it's not about him. It's about the point he's making.
Then rephrase your question and ask me.
Well, let me put it this way then. If the ADC does not field Peter Obi as its presidential candidate in 2027, do you agree with those who say the party will be stuck with spent forces and wouldn't stand a chance?
Well, I don't agree with that. I believe that the leadership of the ADC, from the very foundation, from what we've been discussing, one, we agreed that we must have very clear, transparent primary election. And if we have it, whoever emerges, all of us in the coalition will support that candidate. Either Atiku, Abubakar, Peter Obi, Rotimi Amechi,
or even yourself.
Well, I'm talking about those who have clearly indicated interest in running.
And of those people, is there anyone that you particularly support?
Well, when we get to that bridge,
well, we are at that bridge.
We are not there yet.
The bridge is this interview.
No. It's not this interview.
Right. Okay.
I have been playing a major role in the coalition.
Right.
So it will be too insensitive for me
I understand
to come out right now and say I'm supporting this or that or that.
I understand.
Yes.
But let me put it another way, because we talked about your political role as a rebel with a cause. And that's over the issue of zoning, which came up repeatedly during your time in the House of Representatives, and you consistently defeated that. How clear-eyed are you about the risks that the issue of zoning poses to the ADC, with the main contenders for the 2027 presidential ticket coming from the north and the south?
Charles, this issue of zoning is something that is having a lot of faces. And it depends on where your standpoint, where you are looking at it. If you are looking at power shift from north to south, you calculate the years that the south has had presidency from 1999, when the zoning actually started, to where we are today. If you are one of those who are saying that the north should have it, your argument will be that the south has been more in power.
Yeah, which one is your argument then?
Hold on. I want us to have the best. Me. Wherever he's going to come from.
Yeah, but you have to agree, And I don't know. I mean, you've got
from my trajectory, Charles, is clear.
Yeah, but what
that
I'm
I've
saying,
never been a product of zoning.
I know, but what I'm saying is that
from being minority leader to being Speaker of the House of the so I believe that Nigeria should have the best.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that
if someone's mother is gasping and in a critical condition, and you are rushing her to the hospital, are you going to ask for a physician from your local tribe, or you are going to ask for the best hand that can save your mother?
I understand that point, but I mean...
So that's the situation of Nigeria today.
Yeah, but you have very sharp instincts as a politician. And I wonder if you are at least a little bit afraid about that and what it could mean for the ADC and the direction it might be forced to head in.
By the grace of God, I believe that any candidate that the ADC comes up with in 2027 will defeat Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
But it could cause divisions within the ADC.
We are managing, our differences, Charles, and we are having Nigeria and Nigeria's interest at heart. Rest assured that the leadership of ADC under David Mark is having this country and its interest at heart.
Well, let me look at it from another angle. Many Nigerians believe that the same political class keeps recycling itself. What do you say to them?
Yes, there is that factor you cannot remove. I have always been urging people of good character, with capacity and content to join politics. We must not leave it to those that are otherwise. Anybody that wants to come into the is invited. I believe in quality, I believe in content, I believe in character and capacity.
And are you yourself still seeking higher office, or is your focus now on shaping power behind the scenes, a kind of kingmaker of sorts?
Not kingmaker. I am playing that role of ensuring that we galvanize and bring out the best for Nigeria.
Right.
My focus is on that.
Not on yourself.
Not anything personal.
Right.
Not anything personal.
Because, I mean, you've tried to run for president.
Yes, I did.
Do you still have that ambition?
Ambition is ambition. but what I am doing now is bringing people together to work together.
But you don't have any desire to compete for the presidency in 2027?
I don't have that desire.
Okay. Well, let's switch gears slightly. You are the former governor of Sokoto State. What do you make of Donald Trump's muscle flexing in Nigeria in general, and specifically his attack on your state, Sokoto?
Well, it was very concerning and very worrisome when we woke up to hear that missiles were dropped in part of my constituency, and of course Tangaza in the other constituency and part of Sokoto State. Of course, we are aware that Donald Trump is taking too much interest in Nigeria. But we were not expecting that the first part of the country and state he was going to hit was Sokoto. Because, frankly speaking, and any leader who is aware of what's happening in Nigeria knows that you don't have that main security challenge as you have in some parts of the country, in Sokoto. Yes, as governor, I knew that the Lakurawas were there, even during my own term, and we pursued them and chased them back and pushed them back. But the security situation in Sokoto...
You didn't think there was justification?
Yes, I don't see that justification.
But then, according to the Washington Post, which has done a thorough sort of investigation into what happened, both from the American side and from the Nigerian side, they said that it was a decision. The Nigerian government supplied the intelligence to the Americans and told them where to go and attack. And
incidentally, I'm not even a member of any security committee in the National Assembly in the Senate, so I don't have that information.
But you disagree with that decision?
Even if that is the information given by the Nigerian government, it must have been a very, very incorrect security information. Because, okay, what's happening in Borno? What's happening in Zamfara, Katsina, Even Niger of recent, Benue, Plateau.
Well, it's all about intelligence.
So if it's about
and
intelligence,
where your attack would have the greatest chance of
okay,
being
they should come up.
successful
They should
without
come up. They should
collateral
come up.
damage.
The National Security Advisor or anybody in government should come and tell us and give us the impact of that attack. What was the impact?
True. That's an important thing that many Nigerians are waiting for.
You people, the media, should take up our government on that, because the government
has been
very, very. I mean, how do I describe it?
Cagey. About
not cagey, but they have not been able to come out, even with a clear statement.
Yeah.
As to what is their position.
Well, we can't put a gun to their heads.
I'm not talking about gun. I'm talking about engaging them and taking them.
Yeah, we've been doing that. But let me move on from that, because there's been talk, and you are a member of the opposition, which is why I'm asking you this question. There's been talk that a hawkish American political and diplomatic intervention in the 2027 election by way of pressure on this government to hold a free and fair ballot, and some people in the opposition have said that, is the only way that such a clean election can be guaranteed, and that without it, the 2027 ballot will potentially be rigged. That's coming from a lot of your colleagues.
It's not the only way. It's not the only way. It's one of those ways. Because from even our recent history, the intervention of international community shaped the election of 2015, which the APC benefited from. So I expect similar intervention from international community. I'm not particular about the United States. I'm talking about democratic countries and international community now making sure, because they do it without direct interference,
right,
that the elections are free, credible, and fair.
And what is happening in that local government area, I think it's called Isa or something, in Sokoto State, where villagers are said to be moving to the local government headquarters for fear of bandits attacking them in Sokoto State?
Yeah, it's been happening randomly, not only in Isa, in Sabon Birni, in Goronyo. Even in my senatorial district in Shagari, we have had similar situation where most villages in Shagari local government left their villages and settled in Shagari township itself. And of course, it's been happening in Kebbi and in Dangishuni, in Torita, in my own senatorial district. So it's correct that that we have that situation in Isa, and a number of local governments, including Raba in Wurno in the eastern flank of the state. That information is correct.
So does that justify the attack there?
The attack was not on Isa.
Right.
The attack was on Tangaza and Tambuwal. The most troubled part of Sokoto is Eastern Sokoto, Eastern Central District, which comprising Isa, Sabon Birni, Gada, Gorenyo, Elela, Godaba, Wurno, and Raba. Up till today, these areas are the most troubled areas in the state. But the attack was not there. The attack was in Tangaza. Even though yes, Tangaza is having some security challenges, as I said, the history of this Lakurawas is that they come through Niger Republic, through that area, through Gada, the Gudu, Tangaza. But in terms of real security threat,
right,
and challenges, you have more in Isa.
Right. And just briefly, because we're coming towards the end of the interview, and I thank you very much indeed for your patience and the clarity of your thoughts. Do you welcome that American big stick in Nigeria as a way of bringing the ruling party to heel? Because so many Nigerians said after that attack, the government started sort of, apparently doing things the way they felt that they ought to do things. Do you think that coming from a party that has been critical of the governance style in this country, that big stick from the Americans helped to shape things in a better direction?
Well, I think that intervention First, the statements from President Trump and the subsequent missile attack had some effect on the government of the day. They now had to maybe sit down and say, look, what's happening? And then you could see that, yes, there is some positive impact of all of that on the way the administration is now thinking.
So in that regard, would you like to see more of that from
I would not want
the
to see
American
more of
government?
attacks.
Right. But you'd like to see diplomatic and political intervention.
And then let us have a clearer and well-defined
Yes.
framework between Nigerian government and the U.S. government for this engagement. And I am in the National Assembly. I'm a senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. These issues were not tabled before us. If you ask us today, we don't know how it came about. And I believe that at this level, we should know certain things. So the framework should be clearer. If there's any agreement between the Nigerian military and the U.S. military, or the Nigerian government and the U.S. government, it should be clear, well defined. And then as I said before, it shouldn't just be the United States of America. Every other country that is willing to help Nigeria resolve what we are facing now as security challenge, I welcome the idea.
Right. And just very briefly, because you were telling us quite comprehensively about what is happening in local governments in Sokoto State, where villagers were moving away from and so on. We've heard of this bandit kingpin called Turji.
Turji.
Yeah, Turji. I mean, why can't he be captured?
Charles, I am not the commander-in-chief.
I didn't think you were. But,
I am
but
not,
you're a man with an ear to the ground,
I
aren't you?
am not the national security advisor. But I believe that Bello Turji can be captured. I believe so.
If you were governor now, as you were then,
Governor cannot capture Bello Turji because you can't even commandeer the CP.
indeed, but you can certainly have discussions with the government.
No,
where you give them
while there, we have had
suggestions.
discussions with the government, even under President Muhammadu Buhari, and we advise the president, as governors of the Northwest, including Niger and Plateau, on the way to go about simultaneous military operation in those areas affected. It was never done. So it's not as if, as a governor, there's much that you can do. You can only advise the president, give them information.
And what would you advise them about that today, about this Turji?
My advice is that we should not negotiate with the bandit from a weak position.
Right.
We should go after them, subdue them, and then come to the table.
Right.
But as where we are today, I don't support any such negotiations.
Right. Okay. We're almost out of time, and I appreciate the time you've taken to talk to us. If history judges your political career, what would you like it to say, and what are you afraid it might say?
What I would like history to say is that in my political sojourn, I've been selfless. I have impacted on human capital development of my people, the people I have been representing, and shaping the youth and people of my constituency towards a better future and better direction. My fear is for me to be judged otherwise.
Well, I hope that history will judge you honestly and kindly.
Thank you, Charles.
And I want to thank you very much indeed for taking the time to come to talk to us. And I want to congratulate you again on your 60th birthday. I think many Nigerians are impressed that at the age of 60, you've achieved what you've achieved. You've become Speaker of the House, you've become a governor of a state, you've become a senator, and not to talk of the things that you were before you became those things, in addition to being a lawyer. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you, Charles.
And happy birthday.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much.